You are watching HPR.
Give yourself time, turn yourself loose, rival Crock Pots.
Before you dust off your Stoneware slow cooker, let's make sure you check the glaze for chips, cracks, or haziness. You don't want to have a compromised glaze on a slow cooker, just in case there is lead inside of the ceramic itself. If you're unsure of the integrity of your stoneware, then consider using liners for your slow cooker. Now, just as a simple disclaimer, we are not lead or certified water quality experts, but there are some simple ways to test your slow cookers.
Testing options.
The first type of test we recommend, and the simplest test, are the swab tests. You can get about 60 swabs in a standard Amazon test kit, and you can use that to check surface level glazes, cracks, or chips in the ceramic container itself. The second type of test is a water-based strip test, which is used for water quality. In theory, if you boil water in the slow cooker for an extended period of time, you can then test that water once it cools down for any signs of lead leaching. A more expensive and thorough way to test appliances for lead is to use an XRF instrument. The XRF testers are quite expensive and they do require certification in order to validate results. However, swab test kits will work for the vast majority of your lead detection needs. We would encourage you to test all of the ceramic and stoneware items in your kitchen, coffee mugs, cereal bowls, and things of that nature. You never know where something might be a source of lead. Your goal in checking your slow cooker is to make sure that the glaze is still intact, that there is no possibility of lead leaching or any kind of surface level lead that comes into contact with the food that you'll be preparing in the cooker itself. If all your testing does not find lead, then your glaze is most likely lead-free and or not compromised. Despite the rumors that lead is only in the colored glaze of imported ceramics made prior to 1997, lead is still found in just over 20% of stoneware slow cookers.
Summary and opinion.
Classic 20th century crock pots have lead levels as high as 180 parts per million, while EPA drinking water guidelines are just 0.02 parts per million. The problem with comparing lead limits in solids versus liquids has to do with the rate of leaching from a solid versus the straight consumption from a liquid. A ceramic insert with 200 parts per million of lead is highly unlikely to leach 200 parts per million directly into your food or liquids. However, any lead leaching into your food is unacceptable, since lead is a systemic cumulative neurotoxin. Lead exists in our food chain and is unavoidable in many cases. Limiting exposure and consumption is important. Remember, most classic crock pots have a power cord that contains lead levels as high as 14,000 parts per million. In fact, most power cords in your house use lead to keep the cord flexible, and it acts as a fire retardant. Because of this high concentration of lead that's found in power cords, many people suggest that you wash your hands simply after touching or handling any kind of a power cord. You don't have to be paranoid, just be cautious. And if you're overly concerned, use non-ceramic slow cookers, which we will link in the description and pinned comment as always. Hopefully this information is useful in your attempts to minimize your exposure to lead. Lead is naturally occurring in the environment and it's almost impossible to remove it from the food chain. Therefore, it's important to limit your exposure to lead, especially in your meal prep and consumption of food. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you for watching HPR.